Been talking all morning about lawmakers with just 7 working days left to avert a government shutdown. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says a continuing resolution will be brought to the floor on Thursday to vote no matter what. Watch.
This is work that members got together that come from different aspects of the conference and work throughout the weekend for the good of the country. Members are going to sit down, be able to work through it. It's less than 170 some pages. A lot of it is part of what we have passed before.
Joining me right now, another leader in the party, New York Congresswoman and House Republican Conference Chairwoman, Elise Stefanik. Congresswoman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Great to see you, Maria.
Can you give us a sense of where we are on this continuing resolution?
Well, we're continuing conversations with members all across the House Republican Conference, and I think what the Speaker pointed out is this was a negotiated language between the House Freedom Caucus as well as the House Main Street Partnership. So what are known as the more centrist Republicans with the very conservative part of our conference. And I think it is a step forward in the right direction. And the important part of the CR is it also includes important policy riders related to securing the border. And I will tell you, Maria, that is a catastrophe no matter where you are, not just in southern border states like Texas, but my home state like New York. So we're going to continue those conversations, and ultimately the CR will be a 30-day government funding extension, but importantly, it allows us to continue our work on the appropriations process. You talked about the historic national debt. House Republicans are committed to reining in spending, and as we move through the appropriations process, that's what we're focused on, to rein in the reckless spending that we've seen under Joe Biden.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you underline where the common ground is, and I know that there's common ground around securing the border. We all know that it's a complete disaster and a massive national security threat. But what happens after 30 days? Let's say you get those few people who are against Nancy Pelosi's continuation of spending, and you get them to agree that the border is, predominantly the issue right now and agree to it. What happens after 30 days?
Well, in order to move through the appropriations process, that gives us more time. Our Appropriations Committee has passed out good, strong conservative bills. We want to bring those to the floor, whether it's DOD appropriations, which is important to fully fund our national security, whether it's our Homeland Security appropriations, which is critically important given this crisis at the border, given the importance of supporting our Border Patrol and Customs and Border officers. Importantly, Maria, here, what is missed in a lot of this is the first time the U.S. Senate in nearly a decade has actually passed appropriations bills. And you know who forced that? It was the House Republicans that forced that. Usually the Senate tries to jam the House with an omnibus, massive $1,000 spending package. We're not seeing that, so we want to make sure that the House has the strongest negotiating position when it comes to reining in our spending, and we believe this is the best way forward. The CR, which gives us 30 additional days, as well as important border security provisions, but that 30 days allows us to pass those appropriations bills to rein in spending. And we're going to do our job. The American people sent us to Washington to do our job, to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. We're going to do just that.
Yeah, but we're at $33 trillion in debt. I mean, how could you say we've been good stewards when, in fact, we're at $33 trillion? Look, I know, Congresswoman, that you've had some real victories within this process in terms of fully funding the DOD request of $826 billion for the defense, confronting the woke Pentagon issues, defunding the DOD's new abortion policy, funding border security, mandating enforcement policies. But your colleagues want more, and they want an end to this reckless spending. I mean, where are we on a budget? $6 trillion after all of the spending in the last 2 years? Isn't it supposed to be $1.5 trillion budget?
Well, Maria, I join my colleagues in saying we have to stand up for taxpayers across this country. We have to rein in our nation's spending, particularly for the next generation. That's why we want to pass the CR, so we can continue in that 30 days to move good conservative appropriations bills and really rooting out the waste, fraud, and abuse in these various agencies, the duplicative programs, and the gross overreach and explosion of federal spending that we've seen just in the past 2 years. Joe Biden and House Democrats and Senate Democrats added $10 trillion in the next decade in just 2 years of unified single-party rule. So this is an area where House Republicans agree on. This is why earlier this year, when it came to the debt ceiling negotiations, this was the first time ever that when it came to budget caps, that we will spend less than the last Congress. So we're going to continue to work through that appropriations process and communicate that with the American people, who are also forced to balance their budgets in a very challenging economy.
Well, the Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, joined me on Sunday Morning Futures on Sunday, and I spoke with him about balancing this need to keep the government funded while also deepening the probe into the alleged bribery and money laundering that your colleagues have talked about with Joe Biden. I asked him if he's going to subpoena Hunter Biden. Watch this.
The one thing American public has to understand is there's a strategy behind everything. We only follow facts. Hunter Biden will get subpoenaed, but when's the appropriate time? Do you do it because television wants it, or do you do it around the facts and the timing when Comer? I think we should have the bank statements to actually know where did the money go, so you would know the questions to ask Hunter Biden.
So, Congresswoman, is the spending fight complicating the Biden probe?
No, we have to be able to do multiple things at the same time. I sit on multiple committees, and we know how to address multiple crises. I think the weaponization of the federal government and this really fundamental sense across America that there are two sets of rules. If your last name is Biden or Clinton, you get to live by a different set of rules. And House Republicans are going to follow the facts wherever they may lead. And that's why this impeachment inquiry step is so important. It ensures that constitutionally, Congress is at the apex of our power, so we can follow indeed the facts wherever they may lead. I have always said, and I believe, that this is going to uncover the greatest political scandal and corruption scandal in American history, that Joe Biden was deeply tied into Hunter Biden's illegal business dealings. So we will follow those facts. I support the Speaker in taking this step towards impeachment inquiry, but it's about transparency for the American people. We have to root out corruption wherever it lies, especially if it lies in the Oval Office.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it's interesting to see pushback from members even there. It was hard enough getting the impeachment inquiry. For months, people were saying, why isn't he launching an impeachment inquiry after 176 suspicious activity reports, witness testimony alleging bribery, and emails talking about this business? And yet the Republicans are having a hard time getting united on anything. Why is it so hard? When Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker, she had her way of getting everybody in line, and she pushed through all that legislation. Why is it so hard for the Republicans to all agree on these things?
Well, we have a very large conference, and I will tell you, Maria, since the start of this year till now, there are more and more Republican members who supported this step of taking the impeachment inquiry to the next level. And the reason for that is House Republicans have uncovered whether it's the 20-plus LLCs that went to Biden family members, whether it was the over $20 million that flowed into Biden family personal coffers while Joe Biden was vice president. And that money, of course, came from countries like China, like Romania, like Kazakhstan, like Ukraine. There are very, very important questions that need to be asked about bribery as well as high crimes and misdemeanors. And you're seeing more and more Republicans want to focus on the transparency and facts. So we're going to continue to do our oversight work. And I think members ultimately, when it comes to rooting out corruption, I believe they fully support that and are going to fully support this process moving forward, especially as more facts and evidence comes out about criminal behavior.
All right, we'll be watching all of that. Congresswoman, thanks very much. We'll, of course, be watching your work. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.